Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for July 20th. So this is sort of one of those surprise midweek readings that I'm doing, which is why I always encourage you to press the notification bell so that whenever one of my videos comes out, you get notified of it. So thank you for being here. Welcome new subscribers, donors. Oh my God, thank you so very, very much. It's so appreciated. You have no idea. It's just a lovely feeling to you know feel appreciated, and it's awesome. So thank you very much. The reason I wanted to pop on midweek was there was some confusion about one of the pendulum answers regarding Beta O'Rourke. So I'm going to check the pendulum. We'll fire a few more questions at it. And I also want to take a look at Joe Biden. And see how he's doing. You know, the poor guy, he is just so under fire. Um, and I want to take a look at that and look at the dynamics around that and, see what's going on there. Let's start with the pendulum, shall we? Okay, here we go. Okay, so the pendulum's going side to side. It's ready to talk. Oh, I don't like how it's sitting there. There we go. Okay. Pendulum. Is the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, going to win his re-election bid? That's a clear no. Is Beto O'Rourke going to win that contest? And that is a clear yes. Is Beto O'Rourke going to be sworn in as the governor of Texas as a result of the election in 2022? Also a strong yes. Okay. And I can see you're kind of saying like, why I can't tell that that's a clear yes. Um, it is. I can see that there's sort of a slight sort of spin on it, but the overall motion is back and forth, which is my yes. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Just while I'm here, people were really indignant about the fact that energetically I said Steve Bannon looked like he was going to get 3 to 6 months of jail time. Let's just double check that. Pendulum. I'm holding it a different way. You can see. I want to see if that sort of stops some of the wiggling. Is Steve Bannon going to be found guilty of contempt of Congress? Yes. Is Steve Bannon going to be facing jail time? Yes. He can receive up to 2 years prison time. But in the grand scheme of things, that's a really, really long sentence, considering some of the insurrectionists, got 4 months. Okay, let's try to keep it in perspective here. Is Steve Bannon going to serve more than 1 year in custody? No. As the energy sits right now, is he going to receive between 3 and 6 months jail sentence? No, I don't want to say it that way. Is he going to serve between 3 and 6 months in custody as a result of the guilty verdict? Yes. The best I can do for you now, folks. is is Joe Biden 100% committed to running in 2024 for re-election? And it's going still, right? And so that happens when there kind of isn't a clear answer. So the latest talk is this, or the latest sort of analysis is this, that if Trump runs, Biden will run. If he doesn't, Biden may well decide to step down. The problem right now is that, Joe Biden, I mean, his approval numbers are horrendous. I'm sorry. I mean, I really like the guy, but they're not good. And let me just tell you something. One of the things that happened as a result of Trump was that there are a whole lot of people, and a lot of them are Americans, but I got to tell you, it's happening in other places, where people just feel so entitled. And there's just this sense of, well, if you don't do exactly what I want, you don't have my support. We're allowed to feel that way. But the reality is, well, okay, so if they don't have your support and you would be rather dead than vote for them, what you have done is you have removed yourself from the equation. That's part of what's going on right now, is you have even Democrats who were like, well, he didn't do this and he hasn't done that fast enough and that isn't. And either they're not understanding the role of the Senate, or they are just simply angry. And listen, who isn't angry? You have 9.1% inflation in your country. Here in Canada, we have 8.1%. And honestly, compared to other places, we are paying, because our gas prices are about 50 cents, I guess, a gallon more than yours are. So places in Europe pay double that. Now, granted, they've always had high gas prices because they're not really close to oil. But, again, you got to keep some of this stuff in perspective here. Okay. If Biden decides to run again, will he win re-election? Yes. That's back and forth. I'll grant you it's a little sort of shaky. The more important question is, are the Democrats going to increase their numbers in the Senate as a result of the 2022 midterms? A really nice, strong yes. Okay. And are they going to hold on to the House? Yes. As a result of the things that will, with the increased numbers in the Senate, is the Biden administration going to be able to correct and push through a lot of the policies and decisions that he wants? Strong yes. As a result of that, is Biden's popularity going to significantly increase? Yes. So this is what I'm going to tell you. At this point, Biden's re-election absolutely hinges on these midterms. It's as simple as that. If the House and Senate do not stay firmly Democratic, it's not going to matter because he's not going to win re-election. It will put him in a position where people will be just so fed up and so frustrated. And if people think they're frustrated now because of Manson and Cinema, just wait. If unfortunately the Senate gets a hold, or the House even, because then they wouldn't move things into the Senate, ends up with a majority, they will absolutely sabotage every single day he has in office, sort of like the end of Obama's term. Okay? So these midterms are more important than people realize. And this is not only pertaining to sort of, senators and House representatives, it is about governors, it is about down ballots in local and state. Because again, if you end up in a country with really, really rad governors, kind of really crazy governors who think the election was stolen and yada, yada, it's going to make it really hard going forward. So people voting for these midterms is huge, huge. In some ways, almost as vital, almost as important as voting for the last election. Because this midterm is sort of about cementing the results of that midterm, or of that election, of the federal election. Okay? It is about confirming that the direction that the country was going in under Trump was not the direction the vast majority of people wanted to see it go in. Come on down. I have a question. Good old Joe Biden. How's he doing? Lot of pressure. Lot of static the guy gets. And I'm sure it must be incredibly frustrating for him because in many ways the censor tried. I think it's later on today, I think, that the vote is going to the Senate to codify same-sex marriage. You know what? Let's just ask, shall we? Are the Democrats going to get the votes they need in the Senate, allowing them to be able to codify same-sex marriage into law? That's looking like a pretty solid yes. And just while I'm here, are the Democrats going to retain majority in the House as a result of the 2022 midterms? That's a yes. And we'll ask one more time. Are they going to increase their numbers in the Senate, giving them a better or a stronger majority as a result of the 2022 midterms? And that's a yes. There we go. How's Joe doing? How's Joe doing? How's Joe doing? Well, he's definitely getting a shellacking. So this is kind of the energy that he's dealing with right now, this Five of Pentacles. So on the one hand, he is feeling and pushing against a lot of sort of static, kind of bad news. People not kind of having a whole lot of sympathy and compassion for what he's dealing with, what he's trying to accomplish, and how difficult that road is because he's getting blocked kind of every which way he turns. I swear to God, I really, really hope that the good citizens of West Virginia, first of all, I really hope that in 2024, Manchin is primaried. And I really hope that they're able to install a Democrat in that seat that is not owned by the oil companies. Coal, I think is his deal. Who is not, honestly, more willing to do what big money donors want him to do, I'm assuming, because, however, this is the other thing, let's just remember this. If the Democrats are able to increase their numbers by 2 or 3, heaven help us, maybe even 4 Senate seats, all of a sudden Joe Manchin is powerless. So is Sinema. Okay, so that's the thing. Right now, while they have power, he's pushing his weight all over the place. At some point, he's not going to have that power. But I really hope that the people of West Virginia don't forgive him and don't forget. So what's going on is where Biden can push, executive orders, or where he can apply pressure. Make no mistake, he's doing it. But he's fighting on 2 fronts, right? He's not only fighting domestic opinions about him or attitudes, but he is also fighting international. Because even though he has been very well received, and even though he is very busy partnering with other countries, because there has been this long-standing precedence of sort of, well, the United States, everybody's going to stand back and wait for the United States to take lead, and then we're all going to follow them. And frankly, presidents for a really, really, really long time have just loved being in that position of the most powerful government in the world, the most powerful man in the world. What the US president wants is generally the way the world swings. That's a problem when he can't get his domestic agenda through. How is Joe Biden supposed to be the leader on world climate change when he can't flip and get Joe Manchin to stop voting against him, to stop blocking the Senate at every turn? So you see where what's going on domestically is having an impact on him internationally. And so it's not really so much that he's losing credibility, although I guess that really is what's going on. Internationally, people are looking at him and they're going, you don't have the actual strength that previous presidents have had. You can't seem to get your country righted enough to be able to go forward in a way that we internationally are used to seeing the president being able to cope. So he is facing static kind of on both fronts, okay? Thank God for Jill. Jill is his rock, okay? She has the ability to kind of encourage him, to support him, and to really kind of keep him on track. He's an older man. This is a lot when you're in your 70s to be taking on the kind of stress and challenges that he is faced with. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. because he is strong, and together as a couple, they are strong, and there is strength in that unity. For a really, really long time, one of the cards that has always represented Joe Biden to me is this King of Swords. So you both have both the King and the Queen side by side. Very good. Kamala is proving to be a strong vice president, but honestly, both of them have really awful approval ratings right now. And you know what? It doesn't have so much to do with the people. It has to do with people's perceptions of them not getting what they want. That really is what a lot of this boils down to. It really is about, you said you would do A, B, C, and you haven't. And therefore, I don't approve of what you're doing. Fair? Fair. But also very narrow. Because what you want to see is, what you want to look at is why they can't get it done. That's where you should be directing your frustration. But, buck stops at the top, right? They still have tricks up their sleeves. He still has tricks up his sleeve. There are, things that are being worked at, things that are being looked at. And this is a whole lot of areas. I am hearing they are taking a strong look at SCOTUS. They are taking a strong look at national abortion protection. They are taking a look at the economy and trying to, bring inflation down. And that would include, gas prices. And again, the same thing, right? Gas prices have dropped, I guess it's like almost $1 in the last month, but nobody's jumping up and down. Okay, granted, it's way higher than it was this time last year, but nobody's jumping up and down about the relief they're feeling now at the pumps, because they're still in this mindset. Well, you know what? Listen, if you don't take it back to the gas prices of, 1982 or something, it's not good enough. And he's looking at the environment, the climate. So those seem to be 4 things that are going on that are really, really being worked at, kind of behind the scenes. In some ways, they are looking for the shift in the Supreme Court to enable them to make the kind of changes they need to make and get them into law for voting rights. It's not off the table. It hasn't been shoved to the side, but there's definitely a sense that they're sort of looking at trying to accomplish things that are not going to drag them up to the Supreme Court in a heartbeat, because the Supreme Court, can no longer be deemed impartial. As I said before, if 2022 midterms do not create the positive results for the Democrats, the presidency is over. On the other hand, if it does produce the results where there is a strengthening of the House and especially the Senate, this period of Biden's presidency, which was blocked every time he turned around, is over, and a new beginning is going to start. And that new beginning is going to bring a lot of strength to the presidency. It's going to bring a lot of strength to his office and the powers of what they can get accomplished. There's still going to be some things he's not going to be able to manage in, really what boils down to 18 months after those elections, because you guys are, perpetually in a pre-election. But there's definitely a feeling that he's going to be able to get some stuff done. There's going to be, he's going to be able to say, listen, I promised you this and this and this, and this is how I've delivered, or the degree to which I have delivered on these, in these areas. Okay. Yeah, there will be an energy that allows people to turn away from the disappointments and look to the future. There will be a sense, again, if the midterms turn out well. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, but literally so much of the future of the United States balances on these midterms. Because if Joe goes down kind of in a flaming fire, Trump will get back in, and that is the end of your country. There's going to be a return to sanity. I think for most of us, we have learned a valuable lesson about not taking our eyes off politics. We've learned that whether it is local, state, or federal, we've learned that we can't just go out and vote and then ignore what they do, because that's frankly where the corruption comes in. Having said that, I think there are a great many of us who truly would like to be able to let politics consume, 10 or 15% of our life as opposed to 65%. There can be so much achieved. But it's going to depend on what the people do. He has the potential to have an incredibly strong legacy. But he needs the support of everyone who believes in his vision. He still has a lot of fight in him. And he still has ways to accomplish things. He still has ways to get stuff done. Okay. In some ways, he also is waiting for the midterms. Because then he knows, right? Then he knows. All right. So, Mrs. Zelensky is going to be addressing Congress today, this afternoon, I guess. So hopefully the Republicans don't make asses of themselves like they did last time. There's a few of them who wouldn't stand, who wouldn't clap, who wouldn't anything, looking at their phone the whole time. Hopefully they've got some class, although that's a crapshoot. Anyways, listen, it's the middle of the week. Enjoy. I know everybody's really looking forward to tomorrow's hearings. I know I am. And so that's it for now. Don't forget to press the notification button. Also, really, really fast, if you're looking for a reading, I'm booking the beginning of August, so it's not that far away. You don't have a big wait, and that information is in the Dropbox below. Until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you really soon. Bye.